Hey young friends, Dr. Bill here. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend a few moments with me. As we have for the last several weeks, we're continuing to focus and give attention to the things that Jesus said and taught. And to begin, we've been focusing on the things that Jesus said and taught in what is known as the Sermon on the Mount. Again, you'll find that in the Gospel of Matthew, chapters 5, 6, and 7. For today, we're going to focus on some things that Jesus said right at the beginning of chapter 6. And what he had to say there dealt with how we are to practice our faith in front of other people, how we are to do some of the things that we're called on to do as faithful people, how we're to do it the right way in public. So, for example, Jesus said, when you give alms or make an offering. Now, we don't use the word alms very often, but in Jesus' day, that was a particular type of offering that a person made to someone who was in need, perhaps someone who was poor or someone who had a bad medical condition. You gave as an individual to help that person. Offerings were given in the place of worship. And Jesus said, look, when you make an offering or when you give alms, he said in essence, don't make a big show of it. Jesus here shows us a little bit of humor when he says, listen, when you're getting ready to make that kind of gift to someone else or to your place of worship, he said, don't call in the marching band. Don't have someone play a trumpet fanfare. Don't do all of that. He said, because when you do, you're focusing the attention all on yourself and you're neglecting the fact that your gift is supposed to help someone else. He says, if you try to make a show of it, what you're doing is showing others that you want them to think a certain way about you instead of you being genuinely interested in the person or the cause that you can support. Well, Jesus went on in that same kind of manner to talk about our prayers in public. Now, most of you know I'm the pastor of our church, and one of the things that I have to do every Sunday is lead us in prayer. And that's kind of a hard job because I'm supposed to be attentive to what's going on in the world and what's going on in your life. And when we pray together in public as a part of worship, my prayers are supposed to be a way of helping you voice your own needs before God. And I can tell you that sometimes what's going on in my head is I'm not so much interested in speaking with God as I am trying to impress the people that I'm leading in worship. It's easy to get off track. You probably don't lead prayer in worship, but maybe there are times where you pray in front of your friends, or maybe you pray in front of your family. And Jesus said, when you do that, when you're called on to pray in public, he said, be careful. Don't try to impress your neighbors with your words. Don't try to speak in such a way that, again, you focus all the attention on yourself instead of toward God. He said when we pray in front of our neighbors and we give too much thought to how we're coming across to them, he says, well, we've missed the point. Prayer is conversation with God, not with our friends. And so he said, if you want to do this right, he said, you should pray in public just as you would if you went into a private or secret place in your own house, maybe your own bedroom, where you would close the door and you would speak to God as honestly and genuinely as you knew how. Jesus said, when we pray in secret, hopefully something of that practice transfers to how we pray in public. We learn to be honest. We learn to speak to God and not to the people that are around us. In a similar fashion, Jesus also said in these verses in chapter 6 that he says, and when you pray, don't think that you'll be heard by simply piling up a lot of words. Jesus said, God, here's the idea he's trying to present. He says, God already knows what we need. And he says, if we think that by stringing a lot of words together and talk, that's all we do in our prayers, if we think that's going to make a difference, he says we're mistaken. God already knows. He doesn't necessarily need to hear all the words that we have to say. He simply needs to hear our simplest and our most genuine prayer. So Jesus said, when you pray, again, keep it simple. Speak from your heart. Speak genuinely. Don't think that you have to do anything else to get God's attention. So, in these three examples, Jesus called on us to practice our faith in a particular way. And we can sum it up this way. We can sum it up by saying, Jesus instructed us to be careful how we do our faith in public and to make sure that we keep in mind that our real audience, the audience that matters, is not the people around us, but God and God alone. And Jesus would also say, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Well, that'll do it for today. Thanks again for joining me. If you have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me. I wish you well for the rest of this week and pray God's blessings on you as you come to the end of the school year. Take care. Bye-bye.